boys and girls. It is time for science, and we've been learning about the earth. Yesterday we talked about composting and recycling. Today we're going to talk about natural resources, and those are things that naturally occur on our earth. So let's start reading. Earth here again. I always like to start by showing you a picture of me, just to remind you of how beautiful, amazing, and magnificent I am. Everything people need in order to live happy, healthy lives is available right here on Earth. What continents do you see in this picture? You can see Europe, Africa, and a little bit of Asia. And you can always spot Europe because of the shape of Italy. It looks like a boot. See the big brown area at the bottom of the picture? Right in here. That's North Africa, and it's almost completely covered by the Sahara Desert, which is the biggest desert and one of the driest, hottest places on Earth. You won't find too many people living in the Sahara Desert, but that does not mean that nobody lives there. It is possible to live in the desert, but there are very few natural resources like water in the desert, which makes it very difficult for people to live there. Let's talk a bit more about natural resources for a minute. Natural resources are things that you can find in nature, outside, underground, underwater, or even in the sky. Natural resources are not made by people. Natural resources are part of me, good old Earth. And here are two natural resources in this picture. Can you guess what they are? Here's a hint. One is wet and the other is wood. Water and trees are two examples of natural resources that are very important and valuable to people. And just as I said, one natural resource is water. And of course, one way we use water is to drink it, just as it is. Other things we drink, such as juice, soda, and tea, also contain water. And what other ways is water a resource? We use water for baths, washing dishes, brushing our teeth, cooking, watering the garden, where we grow food, and the list goes on. Trees are natural resources too, and this picture shows just a few things that come from or made out of trees. What else is made from trees? Since trees are mostly wood, we use resources like to make all sorts of things. Wood for houses, furniture, pencils, baseball bats, and a million other uses. Paper is also made from trees. Everything made out of paper comes from trees, including your notebook, napkins, cereal boxes, and other cardboard boxes, and the posters on your wall in your classroom. We talked about cardboard boxes yesterday, and we put them in the paper recycling because they come from paper. That's super important to remember. This is a pretty picture of trees, but I actually wanted to point out something else. The blue sky above the trees. Trees are also important because of their connection to another natural resource in the sky, air. You can't really see the air, but it is all around you and everything else on Earth. Did you know that trees actually help keep the air clean and fresh for you to breathe? Amazing, right? All plants help clean the air, but trees are the biggest and best air cleaners. They take dirty air and put out nice, fresh oxygen, which your body needs to breathe to stay alive. The more trees there are, the cleaner the air will be. If the air is too dirty, though, even trees will get sick. There are other important natural resources, too. I am going to zip through these pretty quickly just to give you an idea of the kinds of natural resources you can find scattered around or on the Earth. But don't worry, I am going to tell you more about them over the next few days. This picture was taken on a farm. What do you see? You could call it dirt if you want, but farmers call it soil. And soil is a natural resource, and it's where farmers plant their crops. Now, we learned about this when we learned about farms and we learned about plants, right? Soil is made up of partly decayed or rotten parts of plants and creatures. We talked about decayed things yesterday when we talked about composting. Remember, we talked about food breaking down and decaying and using it for nutrients. for new plants and spreading it in your garden. And the decayed or rotten parts of dead plants and creatures. And worms help turn the dead things into new soil. It can take about 1,000 years to make 1 inch of good soil. Without soil, we wouldn't have plants or vegetables. Because you can't plant things like in a concrete or in hard ground, can you? And you can't plant it in just water. We need the soil. And here is a school of fish. A school is a group of fish. Fish are important natural resources too. Why? Because some people and animals eat them. In fact, some animals eat nothing but fish. And do you know what these two natural resources are? The one on the left is called coal. The one on the right is oil. Coal and oil are natural resources that come from inside the earth. Coal and oil can be used to make energy, electricity, or fuel to make your cars run. So, now you know what natural resources are. And I'll tell you this, people sure are clever because you figured out how to turn all these natural resources, water, trees, air, and the soil and land, into many things that you need. And we're going to keep talking about these natural resources and how to conserve them, how to take care of them, and to help take care of the earth. And that if we use too much of our natural resources, it can actually hurt the earth because it takes a long time for the earth to remake them and to grow new trees. So that is our natural resources. And so today, because it is Earth Day, I'm going to take this down. Because it is Earth Day, instead of having a worksheet just to do in the house, you guys get to go out for a nature walk. And you're going to look for some of those natural things when you go out and walk. Make sure you ask a grown-up before you go out and walk. And Mrs. Perkins is helping us out with this also because she has the same paper that you have. And she's going to video herself going on a nature walk. And so you can watch her video and see if she finds the items on our paper. So if you go out for a nature walk or if you go out in your yard and look around and see what you can find. So I bet and we'll look at some of the pictures together. Dirt, we talked about that being a natural resource, right? Or the soil. A leaf, that could come from a tree, which is a natural resource. Flowers, spiders, butterfly, mushroom, worms. We talked about worms. They when they crawl through the soil, they turn up the soil and they make it better for planting. Birds, ants, bees, squirrel, a sprout, a brand new plant that's growing, trees, clouds, and grass. So take your paper outside and check off any of those things that you see and have fun on your nature walk, and make sure you watch Mrs. Perkins on her nature walk too. And have fun for Earth Day.